What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the T's Monroe Show. I am your host, and today we're here to talk about Captain America: Brave New World. Let me take you guys back about a year ago. I seen this trailer for the first time at a conference, and it was more than I expected it to be the new Captain America film, and I was so excited about it. I couldn't wait to see it. It kept getting pushed back because of the writer's strike and then the actor's strike. It was just a bad time. We're finally here, finally seeing it. And it's just not what I was expecting out of this film. Now, granted, there was a lot of reshoots. There was a lot of things that was edited, taken out, put in, brought in just to make the film a little bit more intense in ways. And I just felt like those things just didn't work. So one of the main issues I had with this film was Sabra. She was supposed to be an Israeli, pretty much Black Widow for Israel. And they didn't want to make her a hero because of everything that was going on between Palestine and Gaza, which again, I understand it was a lot going on, but again, these characters have nothing to do with your political views in 2023, I believe this was. And I believe that war kicked off later, like a little bit after this film started shooting. So that was one of the things that kind of changed the aspect of this film. On top of that, they changed her character. Now she's working with America. It was just weird, just seeing it. And you can tell, like, just by watching the film, that was one of the problems with the film. It didn't fit very well. So let me go back. Let me tell you guys, as I'm walking into the screening of this film, I'm excited for it, and it just starts off harsh. Like, you could just tell that the editing was going to be off. Like, it felt like another episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which again, that was an okay series, but it's not, and a lot of things would change in that series as well, but it's not okay for this film to cost $180 million, and we're making this a series continuation, if that makes sense. A lot of things that were added to this film were added to save face for what was going on politically in the world at the time. And that kind of happened with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you guys don't know, if you go back and you watch that TV show, you could tell that there's things missing from the episode. So that the real crisis in that series was a pandemic, and we were going through a pandemic at the time. Again, the writing, I don't know if this stuff is written because they know it's about to happen or what, but that pandemic storyline was there before 2020, because the series came out 2020, early 2021. They were filming in 2019, so there's just no way possible for this information to be out there before the pandemic actually happened. So that's that. I just feel like every time that there's something mentioned with Captain America and Anthony Mackie, that they're changing the aspect of things in the midst of shooting, it is affecting the films and the series and the quality of the films in the series. So, and I believe that's why Julius, Onah, the director, walked off, because these type of things were happening. He came back towards the end, had to save face. I'm pretty sure Disney paid him a nice bag to come back and pretty much promote the film, but you could just tell that this film was all over the place as far as what it was supposed to be, and you could tell where it was edited, and it just didn't fit what it was supposed to do for this film. Just going back to watching that first trailer, you feel it, you understand it, you know that there's a lot going on in this film. There's going to be a lot. It's giving you Captain America Winter Soldier vibes. It's going to be a phenomenal film. Didn't have to be a $180 million budget, but I'm sure with the reshoots, that's what brought that ticket item up a lot. That's normally what happened with these films, like the reshoots. Well, not normally. There's always reshoots, but not 4 or 5, 6 sets of reshoots. And that's what this film went through. So you can tell, you can really tell just by watching this film that it was affected by the reshoots. So I'm going to leave it at that as far as saying, to me, this film just didn't hit the mark that I was expecting it to hit. And it really needed to do that. Right now, it's very important for Marvel to show face that they're the stronghold and we need to be believing in Marvel right now. This film didn't do that. And another thing I feel that they changed with this film was the leader. You can tell that when the leader is, I'm not going to give up the film. You can tell that when the leader is in this film and what happens to the leader, that wasn't supposed to happen. You could just, you just can see it. And it felt like when they made the decision to change it, it felt rushed. They didn't really think about how this was going to affect the film. They just wanted to put it in there and make it work. Another problem with the film, Harrison Ford, is he's just not a good Thunderbolt Ross to me. Maybe because the last actor did it so well. It's just I don't see Thunderbolt Ross when I see Harrison Ford. The leader storyline with him and Thunderbolt Ross didn't really match up too well either. I didn't think that was a good enough storyline to keep us there. So I thought that was weak. With Isaiah Bradley, of course, when you see that trailer for the first time, you see that Isaiah Bradley is there and he's making this attack on the president pretty much. And that scene alone should have had us hooked. But unfortunately, again, you can tell that a lot was changed with that scene. And they took out a lot of the emotion in that scene. And they rushed it through. Because in the trailer, you see that scene played out a lot more than what you've seen in the film. And there's no way that should have happened, like at all. That scene should have been prominent, and that scene should have been like our main objective in this film. And I don't think it was, unfortunately. They kind of caught on to the leader too quick for me. The leader is like extremely smart. If you guys like just think of Elon Musk and Steve Hawkins' brainchild, like just the brightest of the bright minds come together. That's the leader. Going into Marvel, going into the MCU, think of Zoloft and Zemo. That's the leader. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's very strategic in his moves, and I don't think he would have felt for the plan or the plot that they are stating that he fell for in this film. It just didn't make sense. So that was a problem I had with it as well. Again, that's just me knowing who the leader is. The Red Hawk, I just felt like they gave us too much in the trailers. And on top of that, just the reasoning behind him and the way he became the Red Hawk didn't work so well. But I'm trying to look at this from a standpoint of I'm coming in as someone who doesn't know about these comics. So if I'm coming in at that standpoint, I don't know. Like, it's hard to think like that because you know the backstory and you know how it works. So the Red Hawk with this, I just felt like it was a weak backstory. The original backstory, I guess I can't ruin it for you guys. So I'm not going to get into that today, but the original story was a lot better and it made a lot more sense than what this did because it was painful to watch. I can tell you that. The new Falcon and just the relationship with Captain America, the new Captain America and the new Falcon, I get what they were trying to do. And it was just like this buddy thing, but it was just you can see that it was forced. It's kind of like you see those relationships where it's like it doesn't really work naturally. So you see the fake stuff in a relationship. Instead of calling it out, you kind of just walk past it. That's what was happening in this film. Also with Isaiah Bradley. And I think that was a part of the problem I had with this film too. It didn't feel genuine. It felt like you were watching an episode of something and they're just trying to get you through these episodes. So for the season finale, it was like that, like the whole time. CGI was pretty bad. Just that opening fight scene with Captain America, just, you guys see it in the trailers when he lands and then people kind of disperse or whatever. The CGI on that was bad. The fight choreographing, like that alone, I felt like they could have at least did that right. So if this film cost $180 million, the plot wasn't there because of them changing it a lot. So I don't blame them for that. But the choreographed fights, that should have been done a lot better. There's no way you come from Captain America, Winter Soldier, with those amazing fight scenes, and you come to this. It just, it's like playing. If you guys ever went from playing Def Jam Fight for New York to playing Def Jam Icon, just the mechanics just wasn't the same, so it just ruined the game for you. That's what happened in this film. Those fight scenes kind of ruined the movie for me. And I'm trying to think of something I like. Sidewinder, as far as Carlos Despacito, them bringing him in was probably one of the best moves they could have made, because his action scenes in there, his main action scene in there against Captain America was just, it gave you that Winter Soldier vibe. And I felt like that was a good thing, but it was also a problem because it was literally copy and paste from when you're in DC and you're fighting Nick Fury and you're setting him up or whatever. And you're coming around the corner, that's when you see Winter Soldier. And with this one, it was like you were coming around the corner, that's when you see Sidewinder. It just felt forced the whole time. It didn't feel like it was a genuine, hey, we got here naturally. It was just like, we put this on the board, we're going to get there. We just don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going to make it happen. And that part of the film, it makes it tough to watch. So all in all, I'm going to have to give this movie a 4 out of 10. I felt like it was trying to give us like strong messaging in there. I get it. It's just not the timing for it. Like, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Like, you have to spoon feed us certain things. And with this film, they were trying to rush it to you, and it just didn't work out so well. So those are my thoughts on this film. I see this movie doing about 75 million this weekend. We have a lot of winter storms going on in the Midwest, and I believe in the East. So I think that's going to affect people going out to see this film as well. But it has a 4-day weekend. So you're going to 4-day weekend plus the opening. So that's 5 days. So we'll see how it goes, right? That's my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoy this show as much as I enjoy bringing it to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I feel like I have one more topic I want to get to you guys before I leave. So let's get into that real quick. My second topic is going to be the I told you so's. The thing is with Marvel, and the thing is with these studios and just big corporations in general, they make emotional decisions at a whim. And they try to say that it's not an emotional decision, it's business and how it's going to affect the bottom line. There's no way that anyone's seen that Jonathan Majors video or watched the trial or seen anything involving that case and is going to not come see your film because of that case. Which draws back to us understanding that Kang is needed for this next phase or the next 2 phases. You've already started this out. And at this point, again, it's going to give you a preemptive reset. You literally can reset the multiverse with Kang. Start from scratch. Can't do that with Doom because we don't know who Doom is in the MCU right now. So that doesn't make any sense. When you do something like this, they're looking at bringing Jonathan. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I'm just talking to you guys like you know what's going on. They're in talks to bring Jonathan Majors back to the MCU, to Disney, right? To bring him back as Kang, which is great. They should have did that in the first place. They're also looking at options to recast him because they really are trying to go off the last season of Loki. It's just like, oh yeah, that was a good ending to the Kang storyline. No, it was not a good ending to the Kang storyline. We have to do better. Going into the reasons for the firing, again, I get it, but also check your staff. Going into bringing Dr. Doom in was a quick, hey, everyone wants to see Dr. Doom. Yeah, but people would rather see a good film more than they would rather see a good character, in all honesty. Again, it brings me back to the point of Iron Man. No one cared for Iron Man before the first film. He's a B-list Marvel, B-list superhero. No one really cared to see him on the big screen. They did a phenomenal storyline behind him, pushed him, And here we have multi-billion-dollar films with Iron Man as the lead superhero in these films. So I get it. Bringing Doctor Doom in this situation was a mistake just to begin with, but to put the cherry on top of the icing, bringing in Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom was just like a spit in the face. Like, this guy is the one, he's the reason that we're making millions and billions of dollars at box office. No, not at all. If you guys look at Robert Downey Jr.'s box office records, they're not great. All right. You have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then you have the rest of his films. Go do your research. Trust me, I've checked. Not only are the films not good, but they don't do well at box office. So bringing him back is not going to fix anything. If you guys are going to do anything, you can make him a variant. Cool. But you guys need to finish out this Kang storyline for the better. Make the writing make sense. Go back to the drawing board with this storyline. Fix where Kang is in this. Fix the Council of Kangs. Fix Victor Timely. The whole Loki storyline thing, I get it. But again, I felt like we were robbed of a good storyline because we just thought throwing Loki as the god of stories as this big thing. And it's like, there's nothing leading up to Loki being able to do any of this. And all of a sudden, he's the god of stories. And that's part of our problem here. We're just trying to rush to the end result. And that's just not how you do film. That's not how you do these storylines. You treat them with more respect than that. All right. So fingers crossed we get Jonathan Majors back as Kang. Marvel fixes this because this stuff is just out of whack. Again, going back to the X-Men, going back to Fantastic Four, Kang is involved each time. It's hard not to. Again, Apocalypse. In some, I forgot his actual name, but Apocalypse was the slave of one of Kang's variants. It's deep, guys, and these are great stories. Don't mess this up. And I'm going to leave it at that, man. I'll see y'all next week on the Season Monroe Show. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Peace.